Imagine a simple, everyday act, something as routine as buying bread for your family or filling up the tank of your car, transformed into a logistical nightmare that requires you to carry not a wallet, but a literal stack of cash so thick it bulges in your pocket, a brick of paper where a single note is almost worthless, and you need hundreds of them just to get through the day. This is not a scene from a dystopian movie. This is the lived reality for millions of people in Iraq right now, a daily struggle with a currency that has been stretched and inflated to its breaking point, a direct consequence of decades of war, sanctions, and economic instability that have forced the national currency, the Iraqi dinar, to carry the immense weight of 3 extra zeros on its back, turning every transaction into a complex mathematical exercise and a constant psychological reminder of a troubled past. But today, we are discussing what could be the most significant and daring economic decision made in Baghdad in a generation, a move that promises to cut the Gordian knot of this monetary chaos. The Central Bank of Iraq has officially and publicly confirmed the activation of the long-awaited project to delete the zeros. This is not a rumor. This is not speculation on fringe internet forums. This is a confirmed policy shift from the highest financial authority in the land, signaling a definitive and final attempt to reset the clock, to streamline the economy, and to fundamentally alter the relationship between the Iraqi people and their money. To truly understand the seismic impact of this decision, you must first grasp the sheer absurdity of the current situation. Picture this: as of today, the highest denomination of the Iraqi dinar in circulation is the 50,000 dinar note. In practical terms, what is that note actually worth? It is worth approximately $35. Think about that for a moment. The single most valuable piece of paper currency the average person can hold in their hand is worth less than a nice dinner. To buy a mid-range refrigerator, you might need 4 million dinars. To purchase a reliable used car, you could be dealing with hundreds of millions of dinars. This creates an economy that is cumbersome, inefficient, and psychologically draining, where the numbers themselves become a barrier to progress, where digital payment systems and modern banking technologies struggle to cope with the astronomical figures, and where the very sight of a price tag with 9 or 10 digits can instill a sense of financial despair. The central bank's plan, therefore, is as radical as it is simple in its core objective: to introduce a new, stronger Iraqi dinar that will replace the current currency, and in doing so, remove 3 zeros from its value. In concrete terms, this means that 1,000 of your current dinars will become one new dinar, that 50,000 dinar note in your pocket. It will be replaced by a new, crisp 50 dinar note. That savings of 10,000 dinars you have tucked away will become a much more manageable 10,000 new dinars. This process, known technically as a redenomination, is far more than a cosmetic makeover or simply printing new money with different designs. It is a profound surgical intervention into the circulatory system of the Iraqi economy, intended to slash transaction costs, eliminate accounting errors, pave the way for a seamless integration of digital wallets and electronic banking, and most importantly, to restore a sense of normalcy and pride in the national currency. It is a declaration that Iraq is ready to move beyond the economic legacy of the Saddam era, the sanctions, and the subsequent conflicts, and step onto the global stage as a modern, functional economy. The success of this project, however, is a razor's edge gamble, a high-stakes operation where the margin for error is virtually zero, and its ultimate outcome will depend on a complex web of factors including public trust, political stability, and flawless logistical execution, because if history has taught us anything, it is that currency reforms can either be the foundation of an economic miracle or the trigger for a catastrophic loss of confidence. The true battleground for this historic monetary reform is not the printing presses minting the new banknotes, nor is it the government vaults where the old currency will be gathered and destroyed. The real and most volatile arena for this project exists in the minds and hearts of the 25 million people who use the dinar every single day, because a currency's value is ultimately a shared fiction, a collective agreement on worth. And if that agreement shatters, the entire project collapses into worthless paper, no matter how well-intentioned the policy or how sophisticated the security features on the new notes. To grasp the immense challenge the Central Bank of Iraq faces, we must look beyond its borders to the sobering lessons of history, where other nations have walked this perilous tightrope with dramatically different outcomes. On one hand, we have the resounding success story of Turkey, which in 2005, after years of crippling inflation, executed a masterful removal of 6 zeros from its Turkish lira, a move that was not just a technical change, but a powerful psychological reset for an entire nation. It simplified commerce, tamed inflationary expectations, boosted foreign investor confidence almost overnight, and rebranded the Turkish economy as modern and serious. proving that such a transformation is possible with meticulous planning, unwavering political will, and a comprehensive public education campaign. On the other hand, looming like a ghost over this entire endeavor is the catastrophic example of Zimbabwe, where a series of haphazard currency reforms, including the removal of zeros, were implemented against a backdrop of hyperinflation so severe it reached an almost incomprehensible 89.76%, eroding public trust to nothing, rendering the local currency a joke, and ultimately forcing the nation to abandon its own money in favor of the US dollar and other foreign currencies. The critical difference between these two outcomes lies not in the act of removing the zeros itself, but in the foundational economic environment in which that act takes place. Turkey had its inflation under control before the switch. Zimbabwe did not. This is the pivotal question for Iraq. Which path will it follow? The central bank strategy must therefore be a dual-front war, fighting simultaneously on the logistical and the psychological fronts. Logistically, they must orchestrate a flawlessly smooth transition period where both the old and new currencies are legal tender, allowing people to gradually exchange their old stacks of cash for new, lighter notes without panic, without creating bank runs, and without a moment where commerce grinds to a halt because of confusion. They must update every single ATM, every point of sale system, every government payroll, and every corporate accounting ledger across the entire country in a coordinated symphony of technological change. But the psychological front is even more delicate. The government must launch a massive, transparent, and relentless public awareness campaign using television, radio, social media, and community leaders to explain in the clearest terms possible what is happening, why it is happening, and this is the most crucial part. What it does now mean they must combat the inevitable rumors and misinformation head on, explicitly assuring every citizen that this is not a confiscation of their savings, not a secret devaluation, and not a government scheme to erase its debts. If a single powerful rumor spreads that people are losing their life savings, a stampede to convert dinars into US dollars or gold could trigger the very financial crisis the project is designed to prevent. Furthermore, this currency reform cannot exist in a vacuum. It is inextricably linked to Iraq's broader and often stalled struggle for comprehensive economic reform. The nation remains perilously dependent on oil revenues, a single commodity whose price is set by volatile global markets, and its political landscape is still fragmented. A new, shiny currency will mean nothing if it is not backed by tangible economic productivity, by a genuine diversification into agriculture, industry, and technology, and by a serious, demonstrable fight against the corruption that has siphoned away the nation's wealth for decades. The central bank is essentially placing a massive bet, gambling that this new, psychologically lighter dinar will act as a powerful catalyst, breaking the inertia of the past and creating a self-fulfilling prophecy of stability and growth that attracts the foreign investment needed to build those very sectors. It is a gamble of historic proportions where the prize is a modern, efficient economy, but the cost of failure is a total and possibly irreversible loss of public faith in the Iraqi state itself. So we arrive at the ultimate multi-trillion dinar question that every single Iraqi citizen, every business owner from Mosul to Basra, and every international investor watching from afar is now asking: what does this monumental project to remove the zeros truly mean for my life, for my livelihood, and for the future of my country? Let's break down the practical implications, moving from the individual to the global, because the ripple effects of this decision will touch every corner of society. For the average Iraqi man or woman, the most immediate and profound change will be one of psychological liberation. It is the liberation from the oppressive mental arithmetic that has plagued every single marketplace transaction for decades. The simple human act of buying groceries will be transformed from a complex calculation involving numbers in the tens of thousands into an intuitive glance at a price tag that might read 5 dinars for bread or 20 dinars for a kilogram of meat. This cognitive ease, this restoration of numerical sanity cannot be overstated. It is the first step towards rebuilding a normal economic life where money is a tool for exchange, not a constant reminder of hyperinflation and national struggle. For the small business owner, the shopkeeper, the entrepreneur, the benefits shift from the psychological to the intensely practical and financial. Imagine the sheer amount of time and potential for error currently wasted by accountants and shop assistants who must manage ledgers and cash registers filled with numbers containing 8, 9, or even 10 digits. The redenomination will slash this administrative burden overnight, reducing errors, simplifying tax calculations, and freeing up immense human capital for more productive tasks. But perhaps the most significant leap forward will be in the realm of financial technology and digital payments. The current Iraqi dinar, with its impossibly high numerical values, is a structural nightmare for modern electronic payment systems, credit card processors, and online commerce platforms. Integrating them is technically cumbersome and user-unfriendly. The new, streamlined currency will tear down this technological barrier, unleashing a wave of financial innovation, allowing for the seamless adoption of mobile banking, digital wallets, and e-commerce, finally connecting Iraq's economy to the 21st century global marketplace in a way that was previously impractical. This digital leap is absolutely essential for attracting the kind of foreign investment that goes beyond oil, bringing in tech startups, international retail chains, and financial service companies that have so far viewed the Iraqi market as too opaque and complicated to enter. However, it is absolutely critical to address the single biggest point of confusion and potential panic head on. Let us be unequivocally clear. The process of removing zeros in its pure intended form is a neutral event for your personal wealth at the moment of transition. It is a recalibration, not a creation of value. If you have 1 million current Iraqi dinars saved under your mattress today, and the reform is implemented perfectly, you will possess 1,000 new Iraqi dinars tomorrow. Your purchasing power in that instantaneous switch is designed to remain precisely the same. The value of your life savings is not magically multiplied, nor is it secretly slashed. It is redenominated. The real opportunity for wealth creation, the potential for the new dinar to genuinely appreciate in value against the US dollar and other global currencies, will manifest after the transition is complete, and it will be driven entirely by the success of the broader economic reforms we discussed. If this currency reset leads to greater political stability, a tangible reduction in corruption, a successful diversification of the economy, and a flood of new foreign investment into sectors like construction, manufacturing, and technology, then and only then will the new dinar grow stronger, making your 1,000 new dinars potentially worth more in real terms over time. The project to remove the zeros is therefore not the finish line in Iraq's economic recovery. It is the powerful starting pistol that signals the beginning of the most important race in the nation's modern history. The race to build a stable, diversified, and prosperous economy that is no longer beholden to the ghosts of its past or the volatile price of a single barrel of oil. It is a declaration to the Iraqi people and to the world that Iraq is ready to close a long, painful chapter and begin a new one defined by efficiency, modernity, and hope. The road ahead remains fraught with risk, but for the first time in decades, there is a clear, concrete plan to escape the numerical prison of the past and build a financially sovereign future. The decision has been made, and the countdown has begun for one of the most ambitious economic resets in modern history. The story of the Iraqi dinar is entering its most critical phase, and the implications will ripple across the Middle East and global financial markets. I want to know what you think. After hearing this detailed breakdown, are you optimistic? Do you believe the Iraqi government and the central bank can build the necessary trust and execute this plan flawlessly? Or are the risks of public panic and logistical failure too great? Share your detailed thoughts, your question, your analysis in the comments below. Let's get a serious discussion going about the future of Iraq. And if you want to stay on the absolute front lines of this unfolding story, you need to subscribe. I am already working on a confidential follow-up report that delves into the hidden geopolitical consequences of this move, analyzing how a successful Iraqi currency reform could potentially reshape economic alliances and power dynamics across the entire region, influencing everything from oil policy to international diplomacy. This is information you will not find anywhere else presented with this same level of depth and clarity. To ensure you are the first to see it when it drops, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell right now. Don't be a spectator to history, be a part of understanding it. Subscribe now.